Hello, this is Vanessa Graulich and welcome back. Today I want to talk about short selling. I want to make a small video just to explain you what is short selling with a very simple example. And then I'm going to tell you what happened with GameStop versus, I guess, Wall Street. But I would like to call it, instead of GameStop versus Wall Street, basically the people versus Wall Street. And I'm gonna go ahead and explain you why this is so important, what just happened, because you're gonna understand once you understand short selling, basically why this is a huge deal. So let's start. What is short selling? Well, first of all, let me explain you a little bit about stocks. You're gonna have two financial instruments. You can have stocks, these guys, you own them, okay? And then you're gonna have what we call options. Options, you don't own them. You borrow them, okay? So when you borrow them, what you do is the following, and I'm gonna show you with a simple example. The important part here is this. When you own stocks, it's like you call your broker and you're like, hey, I want to buy one share for Apple. Your stock goes ahead, and then he says, sure, not a problem. Give me $700, get your certificate, and you own it. With options, it's not like that. You're basically going to borrow the stock, do something, whatever you want with the stock, and then you have to pay it back. So let's do a simple example. So let's say that, I'm a speculator, and this is me, and I'm basically looking at the stock price for stock XXX. And I see that the stock price is $100. I keep looking at the computer and I keep, reading about this company XXX, and I'm like, I think this company, the price of the stock is going to go down very soon to $70. You just, speculate that it's 70, you could speculate 60. All what you think as a speculator is that the price is going to go down. And you say, I'm going to short sell the stock, because what you're going to do is the following. So I go ahead and I said, perfect, I'm going to do the short selling. I call my broker and I say, hey, Joe, can you please give me one share of $100 for a stock XXX, but I want to short sell it. My broker goes ahead and says, sure, why don't you go ahead, and you need to go ahead and pay a small fee, and I'm just going to put a fee here of $10, okay? And listen to this, Vanessa. By the end of the day, basically the broker, you're going to have a limited time to hold the stock. I'm going to lend you the stock. That means that you're going to have the right of doing whatever you want with the stock, only paying $10, kind of like a rental fee. And you're like, perfect. Immediately I go ahead and once I get the transaction, the stock, I grab the stock and I say, perfect, I'm gonna go ahead and now and sell the stock. Remember, it's $100. So I get my stock, my certificate, and I call someone else or whatever your broker can do, and I'm just making an example right here, and I say, hey, would you like the stock for company, XXX? And they say, sure. And I say, okay, here, I want $100. So this guy gives me $100. Mind you, I don't have the only thing that I have paid is $10 because I just borrowed the stock. He's like, sure. I give him the stock, he gives me $100. And now I'm going to wait until the stock drops. Let's say my speculations were right, and the stock is going to go from 100. Remember, I already got rid of it, but don't forget, I have to pay back at the end of the day, and it's like around 12 o'clock. Let's say that it's 12 p.m., and I have to pay back my stock by 9 o'clock, okay, to my broker. So it's $100, and I wait, and then the stock drops at $70. This guy calls me back and he says, I don't want this stock anymore. Would you like to buy it back? And I said, of course I would like to buy it back. So what I do now, I buy the stock back, right? And what I do is that this guy is going to give me $70, okay? Actually, I'm sorry. I'm going to give him $70, right? Because I'm going to buy the stock back, and he gives me the stock back. So let me just recap. I bought the stock for $10 to borrow the right to do whatever I wanted with it. I sold it to this guy for $100. I waited until it dropped to $70. He got desperate. He's like, I don't want this anymore. And I took advantage of the leverage that I have, and I said, sure, I'll take it for 70. Of course, this guy already lost how much money? $30, right? He leaves and he's pissed off and he's upset. So then I go ahead and I call my broker back and I say, hey, Joe, remember, I have to pay it back. So I call Joe and I say, hey, Joe, I got your share back. Here. This is a certificate for $100, right? He takes it back. This is my broker. He takes it back. He said, oh, perfect. Bye-bye. How much profit did I make? Well, think about it. I only spent $10 to do the transaction. So what I did is that I spent $10, right, to get the right to get 100. And then what I did is that I spent $70 buying it back. 100 minus 10 minus 70 is going to be equals to what? 20. So I made $20 short selling just because I speculated that the stock went down, and I was able to make this money only using a small fee. So short selling, you're basically borrowing someone else's stock and doing these transactions, and the trick is that you have to pay back. Now, when short selling goes bad, and this is what happens. So let's go again, and let's go to my first example. Let's say that I got the $100 stock, right? And I'm super happy, and it's 12 o'clock, and I'm like, looking at that computer, and I'm like, yes, it's gonna drop from 100 to 70. But that doesn't happen. People start looking at the stock and they say, wait a second, I think stock XXX is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and start buying it. And everyone starts buying the stock. There's all this information on the internet, and the stock price, because remember, the stock price is driven by external factors, especially by what people talk and how they feel about the stock and the company. Very emotional. And let's say that the stock now is 130. Now I'm panicking. Why I'm panicking? Don't forget, by the end of the day, I have to pay my broker back how much? I need to give him back his $100 stock. If the price goes up, what's going to happen? At 9 o'clock, my broker is going to call me. I can actually, remember how I sold it to that guy for 100? He's not going to go ahead and give it back to 100. He's going to tell me, sure, you want it back? Now you have to pay 130 by 9 p.m. Now, since I got the stock for 100 and I have to pay back 130 because that's how much the price is. So my speculation was wrong. That's the reason why the higher the price of the stock, imagine if if the price goes from 130 to 1,000, look how much money I have to pay back. 1,000 minus 100, that's where the losses are so bad. And that's what short selling is so complex and very dangerous. So what happened with GameStop? That's exactly what happened. You had all these speculators, right? They were right there looking for that stock for the game store, right? So they have like the game store right there, and they kept looking, and they saw that the stock was going down and down and down, right? And then what happens? They started short selling. Someone went ahead and saw this pattern, and he looked at it and he said, oh, look at these guys from Wall Street. They're waiting for their short selling. They're profiting from these people's misery. What do? They start going on the internet and they start driving the price of the game store up. So these short sellers now are in trouble because remember, if they bought, let's say, the stock for $4, they're going to short sell it thinking that if they can, sell it for $4, buy it back for $2, and then resell it again for $4, then what's going to happen? They couldn't make a $2 profit. But if you buy that at $4 and the price goes up, don't forget they have to pay it back because short selling means you're borrowing. And the price goes up, which that's what happened, to 400. Imagine the difference between 4 to 400 that you have to pay back at the end. And imagine you didn't buy one share, you bought many of them. And that's basically what happened. This starts happening. So the people that, are basically increasing the price. So here you have the people. We're going to call them the people. We the people, right? What do? They start going, the prices up, the same price. People in Washington, so this is Washington, and then they started freaking out. Oh my God, the price is going up, And then the Robinhood app, right? Or whatever, the trading, they say, okay, not a problem. We're going to stop the game so you guys are okay. And obviously, this is when the problem happens. Where is regulation here? Like, are we all playing fair? Obviously, the people, when they raise the stock, makes, you know, the GameStop company increase in value. So I'm going to show you right now how the stock of GameStop went from nothing to what it is today. So let's go over it. Let me show you the stock price. So look at this. This is 1 year, right? All what you do is you put GameStop price and look at this. Look at this. February, look, $3, $4, all this. 2021 hits and look at this. It goes all the way up. And this all happens in 1 day. Look at this. In the last 5 days, look at the stock. And this is when the speculators were like, oh, good, good. He's dropping, he's dropping, he's dropping. And then this is when people say, not on my watch. Increase the price. And they started, you know, betting and betting. And look at that. Look at those peaks. This is all, look at the time. 9:30, 10:30, 11. Look how fascinating this is. And boom, and then it goes down. And then 11:30, 12 o'clock, it goes up. And so on and so on. So what is the lesson to learn from this? The lesson is that look how much the you know, the stock went up. Look at that, plus 131.40, 325 from $98. So what do we learn from here? Well, the most basic lesson from here is look how volatile the market is. The other lesson that we need to learn is that look how technology is giving people the chance of actually be part of the Wall Street game. And this is the reason why this is such a big deal, that Wall Street basically lost this time because the people, well, I don't know, I'm pretty sure they're gonna figure out how to get their money back. So yes, this is it, people versus Wall Street. I hope you enjoyed this mini tutorial and have a great day.